I was born in a tiny Himalayan village, where the wind bites like 1,000 icy knives and the snow hides more secrets than the sky reveals. From the moment I could walk, my parents told me I was destined for the monastery. My childhood wasn't spent playing. It was spent meditating, memorizing prayers, and carrying heavy stones up treacherous paths just to prove my devotion. Every morning, before the sun even dared to rise, I woke to the sound of bells and chants echoing through the stone walls of the monastery. Sleep was a luxury, warmth was a myth, and my body a temple of endurance rather than comfort. By the time I was 10, I realized being a monk wasn't about peace. It was about pain disguised as enlightenment. Cold seeped into my bones like it was alive, and hunger gnawed at me as if it had its own voice. The other boys weren't friends. They were competition for the monk who would someday leave the monastery with a name, but not with freedom. We were forced to scale icy cliffs to collect water, our hands raw and bleeding, only to return and be told that complaining was a sin against the mountain gods. As a teenager, I was told to abandon childish dreams, to let go of laughter, and to embrace the endless monotony of chanting. I watched the world outside the monastery through tiny windows, imagining the lives I would never have: games, love, warmth, even simple conversation. Every festival in the villages below passed like a dream I could never touch. And yet the elders called us blessed, saying we were learning true life, though life outside those stone walls seemed much freer and brighter. By the time I became a full monk, I had mastered the art of appearing serene while my mind screamed for freedom. We were told to climb higher and meditate longer, to sit in frozen rivers for purification, to face our fears alone in the mountains, and to carry heavy statues on treacherous paths in silence. Illness was ignored, wounds were ignored because suffering was supposed to bring wisdom. I learned that enlightenment wasn't a reward, it was an excuse for endless hardship. I spent decades in those mountains, my body frail but my mind disciplined, yet every day felt like a test I hadn't signed up for. I saw fellow monks crumble from exhaustion, and I learned that the only escape from despair was deeper meditation, a cruel cycle where the more you endured, the more was demanded of you. By the time old age crept in, my hair had whitened, my back had bent, and my eyes had witnessed enough cold, hunger, and silence to fill lifetimes. Finally, when death came, it was not the release I had hoped for. I had spent my entire life sacrificing comfort, joy, and even the simplest pleasures for an ideal I never fully understood. And yet I could not regret it completely, because in some quiet corner of my mind, beneath the frost and pain, I understood the mountains had shaped me for better or worse. But let me be clear, being a Himalayan monk is less about peace, and far more about enduring a lifetime that feels like a frozen eternity, where the mountains whisper but never answer.